I'm a lawyer, a practicing lawyer for years. And if you don't know the facts about the case against you, you don't make a very good lawyer. And when I listen to this array of misstatements of fact, I see why it's impossible for people in the Birch Society to do anything effective, even if they honestly think they're fighting communism. For example, if they think that Alger Hiss was the first Secretary General of the United Nations, what are we going to make of something like this? This is absolutely false. The first Secretary General of the United Nations was Trygve Lie of Norway. Alger Hiss was the Secretary General of the San Francisco Conference. But you might just as well say that the Secretary General of the first Constitutional Convention, whom I suppose nobody can remember, was the first President of the United States. Or they say that the Undersecretary of the United Nations for Political and Social Security Affairs is in charge of the military operations. This just is false. The United Nations has had 4 or 5 major military operations: Korea, Lebanon, Middle East, Congo, and now Cyprus. There's never been a Russian anywhere near the military command of those things. They've been commanded by Americans, by Indians, by Canadians, by Norwegians, by Swedes, by Irish, by just about anything, but never a Russian. And yet, year after year, we keep getting this canard, this lie about how the Russians have a permanent deal that was made that they should always control the military operations. Now, I don't think there's any excuse for this. If you say these people are educated and intelligent people, and they come to us from colleges and so forth, there is absolutely no excuse whatever for these misstatements of facts that can be read on any simple manual about the United Nations.
So let me offer another reason for why I think the John Birch Society and similar extremist organizations can attract Americans. There's a sense of frustration today deeply embedded in the American people, an American community which has always been used to easy victories, which has not been used to the Cold War frustrations that we've been suffering. Along comes the John Birch Society and other extremist organizations, and as Ben indicates, they offer glib, easy answers for very complicated problems. They would resolve the Cuban situation very quickly with nuclear military power. They would resolve the problem of Vietnam the same way and of Red China the same way. Well, these aren't easy answers. They are glib, Bill.
We'll be back with you, we hope, to discuss the historical role of the right-wing extremists in our society today. Right now, however, we're going to join our other guests and give them an equal chance to present the point of view of the John Birch Society. Colonel Lawrence E. Bunker was Colonel MacArthur's aide during the Korean War, and also with General MacArthur's aide, I should say, during the Korean War and during the Japanese occupation. He's a member of the John Birch Society's National Council, as well as a member of his Executives Committee. He was present at the Society's founding back in 1958 in Indianapolis. You all met Tom Davis earlier at the meeting in Summit, New Jersey. Mr. Davis is the John Birch Society's major coordinator for the Northeast area. Well, gentlemen, you've heard the criticism of your organization. Colonel Bunker, I'd like to turn to you and ask for a brief rebuttal of the statements that the other guests on this program presented a few moments ago, if you care to, sir.
Well, actually, as you know, there isn't time to rebut all the points that they have taken up. But I would like to establish one position as far as I'm concerned in general principle, and that is that it has always surprised me that people of the intelligence of the gentleman here tonight and many others in this country would classify the basic policy of the John Birch Society as being extremist, because the announced goals of our organization are for less government, more individual responsibility, and a better world. Now, what there is that is extreme about those, I am at a loss to understand. Also, when it comes to political philosophy, in my studies of political philosophy, the two extremes in government are anarchy, where you have no government at all, and complete dictatorship, whether by an individual or by a state organization. And those are the two extremes of political philosophy as far as government is concerned. Now, the John Birch Society is solidly behind the American Constitution and is constantly saying so, that we believe that the Founding Fathers had a brilliant idea. It was the most advanced form of government that has ever been devised by man, and we feel that it had everything to recommend it and that it was not an extreme form of government, that it went down the middle, that it wasn't the extreme even of democracy, which allows the majority to control everything. But it provided, as any Republican public would, the protection of minorities within the group. Now, when you come to the actual practice of politics, you have, again, extremes. You have the extreme of the individual who sits on his hands and says, I'm going to do nothing about government. And you have the other extreme of the man who says, I'm going to take a gun and I'm going to go out and get rid of the people who represent a different point of view. Now, those are the extremes of political action. And there again, the John Birch Society is in the middle. It doesn't associate itself with either extreme. We condemn people like the Minutemen and the American Nazi Party who do believe in violence. But we also condemn the people who would sit back and do nothing and not even be a good citizen. So that on those issues particularly...
Which do you condemn more, if I may ask?
Well, it's very hard to decide sometimes. It depends upon which one has more influence at the moment.
Mr. Davis and Colonel Bunker, I wonder if I may ask you a question. Critics of the John Birch Society say that those people who join the John Birch Society are misfits in our society. They say they use more polite words, but essentially that's what they mean. They're malcontents, discontents with the order of things as they are. Colonel Bunker, may I ask you, sir, why did you join the John Birch Society?